Hello again from JFocus. We're doing Fika AI interviews with incredible people here at JFocus. And I have Ivar from, oh, and I forgot now already. We just met. Ivar, introduce yourself.
Yes, I'm Ivar Grimstad. I'm the Jakarta Developer Advocate at Eclipse Foundation. And funny thing, if you run this show in Italy, you should rebrand it to something else. You shouldn't call it Fika there.
But Fika, we're in Sweden.
In Sweden, it works fine.
Yeah, but not in Italy.
Not in Italy.
Why is that? What happens there?
I don't think I want to see that word, but you should probably go and check it out.
So
before you go there,
I feel like incognito mode, do a search or something. Is it that level of like?
Yes.
Okay, be careful. Okay, for the Italian audience, I apologize. Here in Sweden, we're having Fika. It's a coffee chat. And we're going to be talking about some AI stuff, and actually from the Eclipse Foundation. That's right. So we just met. I'm from Neo4j. We're the sponsors. We're the host of Fika AI. And with the Eclipse Foundation, the first thing that came to my mind was like within AI space, we've gone from a world where there are like a few major players within IDEs and like how you develop software. And suddenly like it feels like every other month, somebody has forked VS Code or done a new IDE. And this is in some ways maybe the golden age of IDEs because there's lots of different people building them. On the other hand, it feels like, why do I need yet another IDE?
Yeah. Because
the foundation is the same.
Yeah,
so how do you feel about that?
Yeah, so that is very interesting because, you know, the Eclipse IDE is what, that was our original project. And it still goes on, it's still going strong. It's not that widely used, but the project continues. And it's more used, you know, the Eclipse RCP, the platform that is used for internal applications. But we also have IDEs that are more targeted for AI, like Theia, for example. It's based on VS Code.
Yeah.
And all the VS Code players out there that are not Microsoft, they're using the OpenVSX registry for getting the plugin. So Cursor and the Amazon, whatever it's called, the name of that IDE, everybody is using OpenVSX to publish the plugins that these IDEs are built from. And OpenVSX is an Eclipse Foundation project, and we run that service. So Eclipse Foundation has a 24/7 plugin repository that has millions of downloads. I don't know the number because I'm not involved in that, but it's massive. And we are hiring people just to maintain and keep that service up and running so people can get their IDs, because everybody is using VS Code these days, and they're all composed of all these plugins that these major corporations put into OpenVSX and then produce Cursor and the others.
I had no idea. So I've learned so many things every time I go to a conference. That is incredible. I was familiar with like the long, rich history of the Eclipse Foundation and starting with the IDE. I know it really kind of pioneered like how to really be super modular in a framework and in an application. And like that has morphed over time, makes great sense. But like that, it is kind of the backbone of like so many of these current IDEs. I had no idea.
Yeah, so it's not the Eclipse IDE per se, but it's the Eclipse Foundation. Yeah,
the foundation, yeah.
And for me, it's kind of ridiculous that we go from having this time where you can download an IDE, like NetBeans. That's from Apache. That's my favorite. And if you download NetBeans, it automatically activates the features that you need as you use them.
Yeah.
So it is a one-stop play. You download one thing and then you start coding. Whereas in the old days, when you got the Eclipse IDE, you had to start downloading plugins and set up your environment. And this is where we are today with VS Code, because VS Code in its like bare bone is nothing. You need all these plugins. So now you are in this place where everybody is downloading plugins and configuring their own IDEs again.
Yeah.
And then you have these AI companies and the more specific like Cursor and all these names. Theia is one of them from us, that are pre-configured with these plugins.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and like, so being in like, you know, doing AI development these days, I jump between different IDEs because I have to try things out. And like, this is the first thing I do. I jump to a new IDE, I'm like, okay, what extensions are available? I know it's gonna be the same list. Yeah. I reconfigure the same ones every time. And now I feel like I want like a profile of like, here's, my environment is actually the plugins. Yeah. I don't really care about the editor. I just want this group of plugins. Is there a way to do that? Can I have like I don't know, maybe it's even like an outside way of doing it where like I can define my plugin set, and for any IDE I've got, I can just have it install those.
I'm pretty sure you can, and if you can't, that's a good idea to put forward to the VS Code team. I guess it has to be implemented in VS Code to have a profile in some way or the other. That's how the Eclipse IDE works. You would have the Java EE profile of Eclipse, or just the Java, or the C, or the SQL, or whatever you were using, and you would download that group of plugins to get that profile of the IDE. So yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe it's a startup idea. Maybe like if you're looking for AI funding, go solve this. Have an agent that all it does is define development environments across IDEs and synchronize them in the cloud. I'm sure you can get funding these days.
Probably, yeah.
So, and actually, let me ask you that then. So, if you were, like, you kind of have a broad view about the ecosystem, I guess. There's a lot of things that people are maybe doing now that like are not providing a lot of value. Because people are like, because it's easy to do, and maybe it's some marketing, it's really just a repackaging. Do you feel like some of these things are short-lived and like actually there is longer value that's not being really looked at right now? Like, where do you think people should be doing things?
Do you mean in the IDE space, or general in the industry, or whatever?
At any level, I guess. Because I think overall, like in like when people talk about the AI bubble, let's say, there's this idea like lots of activities happening. If you've got any idea, add AI to the end of it, you'll get funding, and that'll be great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But in reality, a lot of those things are not going to go anywhere for business. So do you feel like, from your view, what are people not doing that they should be doing? Like, what's a good idea rather than like...
Maybe asking the questions, do I really need this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, do I need AI in everywhere? So, in some cases, it's probably good. Some places it's not good. But I think we're, as always, just jumping into things without thinking.
Yeah. Yeah, is there an actual problem being solved? Or is it like, oh, I could do this, I can get money, I'll go ahead and do this?
Yeah, like I talked to some earlier today, that when you try to get in contact with an airline, for example, you get this AI bot that you has to get through. And the only thing you want is, I want to talk to a human. And the only reason why this chatbot is there is to prevent you from that.
Right.
So they have a perfectly good use case for using an AI bot there, because they know what they want. But everybody else who put some AI into their tooling is probably not, like for LinkedIn, for example. Whenever you write a little post there, you get this pop-up say, do you want AI to enhance this? And I say, what? Enhance this? Do you think you can write this better than me? Is my reaction.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right. And I've tried those buttons every now and again. I'm like, okay, let me spin the wheel and see what happens.
Yeah.
And exactly as you're suggesting, I guess, every time the rewrite happens, I'm like, no, you've missed the point. That is not what I'm trying to do. Yeah, maybe if I started with like really bad like bullet points, here's 3 bullet points, turn it into a post. If you're really, really lazy, maybe it's useful. But maybe this is true both in prose, but also in code. If you know what you want to do, it's faster to just do it than to try to figure out how to get the AI to do it.
Yeah, probably. I had a good, I'm not very good with AI. I'm kind of a reluctant. I'm looking at what's happening, and then I'll adopt whatever is going there. So, but I figure out, I wrote a blog post, and I wanted to just summarize how many meetings did we have in the Jakarta EE platform team last year. So I have a web page where I publish the minutes. So it's a list of dates. So I thought, I don't want to sit there and hand count all of these. So I'll give this URL to, I think I gave it to Copilot, and said, hey, how many meetings did we have last year? And it claimed it was 46. And or even 49, I think it said. And I think, no, we had to cancel more than 3 meetings in a year. So I control counted it, and I get to 46. So I told Copilot, hey, I think you're wrong that it should be 46. And he said, yeah, you're right, it's 46. So Copilot is very nice. And then I said, oh, this is interesting. I'll ask Gemini the same thing. So and Gemini said, it's 44. And then I pointed out that, no, I'm pretty sure it's 46. No, you're wrong. Was what Gemini said. So that's more aggressive.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get Gemini to understand that, no, I'm actually counting it. It is 46. You're wrong this time. No, you're wrong. You have to count again. And then I asked Gemini, okay, list all the dates you can find. And it listed everyone except the 2 meetings in December. So that one was operating on stale data because they were published like a week earlier.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So even though I gave him a fresh URL, it used the cached version of it.
And so this is really interesting because what you're tapping into here, this is like the limits where like LLMs or large language models, they're good with language generation, maybe even language, things that feel like thinking, but they're maybe not quite thinking.
Yeah.
But for calculations and stuff, they're not good at it. Whatever their advanced Olympic math scores are, they're not doing the math. So if there is a math problem, it's not a large language model that's doing the math. They're turning over to tools to do the math, right?
Yeah.
So unless they have a good paragraph count or meaning count tool to access, they're going to do a bad job of trying to figure that out.
Exactly. And often in my job, I use pretty bleeding edge technologies and the newer things, and they're not trained on that. So when I want help to create a demo, for example, none of them can really do it. So I have to end up writing it myself.
Right.
But the code assistant toolings. But if I were to migrate an app between Java 8 and Java 11 or something mundane, simple, that is just repetitive, then they're Excel.
Right.
So if you're doing like a mass of things that you just want things and you don't really care about the quality, you just want it done, then it's perfect.
Yeah.
But if you care about the architecture and the quality and having some structure on it and you want to have it maintained in the future, you should probably think. And this is where, back to your question, we jump a little bit too fast into it. That we just accept that they can do everything better than us, and they can't. There are so many things that we can do so much better.
They're very good generalists. They're very poor specialists.
Yes.
Right? I think it's fair to say. Yeah, I love this. I'm going to share with you like another angle on this. It's even true like when they've seen a lot of language, and so if you ask them to do an MVC pattern or something, they know what that is, well documented. They can do that in different languages probably very well. But like if you want to do like a functional programming style coding, right? And you ask them to do that in like, let's say Java. Now you can do that in Java, but it isn't as natural as it is in say like Scala. Right? So it'll do, even if you tell it, I want a functional programming solution for this, but I want you to do it in Java, it'll start maybe doing functional programming, but it'll quickly turn into object-oriented programming.
Okay.
Because that's what it's seen a lot of. And so I've even fallen to like, when I really want to do something, let's say in functional programming, I'll have it prototype it in Haskell, because then the natural way to do it is functional programming. Say, and now port that to Java. And then that works really well.
Okay, yeah. Yes, you need to know those steps and how it thinks, or it doesn't think, it just generates.
Think. That's right, exactly. So you have to like, it's almost like when you give it, it's the same when enterprises, if you're gonna ask it to do something in law, you have to say, well, okay, you're a legal scholar or you're a judge. You have to have it, put it in the right mindset and have the right language for it to then be able to do well in that language.
Yeah.
But if you said, hey, I want you to be Indiana Jones and like now review this legal brief.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right? But all the way down to the programming level. So when you're doing code assistance with it, it'll do a bad job unless, exactly as you were saying before, the thing you're asking it to do is exactly what it has seen a lot of.
Yeah.
Right? It can repeat those patterns. Let me ask you quickly about JFocus. You've been here, I guess, a couple of times before.
Yes, I have, yes.
What's your favorite part about JFocus?
It's the community. It's being here among the people and just feeling, like I said in the keynote, this is a massive commercial event, but it's still a grassroots event. So they keep that good vibe, that good user group feeling while scaling to this size, and that's very impressive.
Yeah, that's really well said. It is one of the things I love about this event. I come to a lot of events. We're usually at a booth or something, and for some events, we feel like a vendor, and like people come to us to ask us about a vendor. Here, the conversations I have are developer to developer conversations about just doing stuff, right?
Yeah.
And like, it doesn't matter who I am, who they are. Like, we're just talking about coding, which is really fun, right?
Yeah.
And that has that grassroots feeling you're talking about, which I love. And so great. And so the other aspect that I love is meeting new people.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on stage. Good to meet you. Now I've got a new friend here at JFocus.
Yeah. Good to meet you.
And I'll see you again here someday.
Yes, definitely.
Thanks so much. All right, folks. Cheers.